Someone won't let go because you proved love can be gentle. You might not even realize the magnitude of what you did. You might not understand how deeply you shifted someone's world, how quietly you rewrote the hidden language of their wounds. You were simply being yourself, soft in the way you speak, careful in the way you touch, intentional in the way you listen. Yet for someone else, that softness was a revelation they didn't know their heart had been waiting for. Not all transformations look like explosions, some look like the first warm breeze after too many winters. Some look like the first time someone says, "Take your time," and actually means it. Some look like you, for a long time. This person didn't expect gentleness to be real. They carried memories of being overlooked, misunderstood, mishandled, and dismissed. Love had once been sharp for them, sharp enough to make them believe that affection would always require sacrifice, that closeness would always come with conditions, that connection meant losing pieces of themselves just to feel wanted. They had learned to love while bracing themselves, to care while anticipating the moment everything would collapse. They had learned to survive love, not receive it. Then you arrived, not as a storm, but as something steady. You didn't demand their story, you waited until they trusted you enough to offer it. You didn't poke at their insecurities. You created spaces where they didn't have to hide them. You didn't press for more than they could give, you allowed them to meet you at their own pace. You didn't just care for the parts of them that were easy to love, you cared even for the moments when they withdrew, the moments when they were afraid, the moments when their past echoes tried to convince them they weren't worthy of anything good. Someone won't let go because, with you, they finally felt seen without being judged. They felt chosen without being chased. They felt safe without having to shrink. You became proof that love doesn't have to burn, love can warm. Love doesn't have to break, love can rebuild. Love doesn't have to demand. Love can understand. Love doesn't have to rush, love can move slow and still feel miraculous. There were days when they tested the edges of your patience, not because they wanted to push you away, but because part of them questioned whether you were real. They wondered if you would leave once things got difficult. They wondered if your softness was temporary. They wondered if your warmth had limits. But you stayed. Maybe not with grand gestures or elaborate speeches, but in the simplest ways that mattered, in remembering the details they thought no one ever listened to, in offering reassurance without being asked, in holding space for their fears without making them feel dramatic. In showing compassion even when they were tangled in doubt. Someone won't let go because you taught them consistency without pressure, affection without expectation, and closeness without fear. You showed them that real love doesn't require someone to abandon themselves. Real love doesn't silence their voice. Real love doesn't make them feel small. With you, love felt like breathing, natural, unforced, necessary. They had been taught that vulnerability was dangerous, that opening one's heart was the equivalent of stepping into a battlefield. But with you, vulnerability felt like stepping into sunlight. With you, they learned that they didn't need to be perfect to be loved. They didn't need to hide their scars. They didn't need to present only their strongest moments. You accepted them through both the softness of their dreams and the heaviness of their disappointments. You didn't treat them like a burden. You treated them like a human being who had weathered storms and still showed up with hope stitched inside their chest. And because of that, they learned to exhale around you in ways they never had before. Someone won't let go because letting go of you would feel like letting go of the first place they ever felt gently held. People underestimate the power of gentleness. They underestimate the kind of healing that occurs when someone finally meets them with tenderness instead of judgment. Gentleness is not weakness, gentleness is courage wrapped in warmth. Gentleness is strength that has decided it will not need to harm in order to be felt. Gentleness is a promise that says, I will not be another source of pain for you. Gentleness is rare, not because the world lacks good people, but because so many hearts have forgotten how to soften after being hurt. But your heart never forgot. You carried gentleness like a lantern in the dark, and someone followed that light right back to themselves. When they look at you, they do not see perfection. They see presence. They see patience. They see understanding. They see someone who doesn't try to fix them but walks with them. They see someone who doesn't rearrange them but honors the shape they naturally take. They see someone who doesn't want to own them but wants to know them. You are different, not because you try to be, but because you haven't allowed past disappointments to harden you. You are different because you know love is not measured by how intensely it arrives but by how gently it stays. You are different because you choose softness even when life has given you reasons to become sharp. You are different because you understand that some people need time to unclench from their fear. You are different because you don't rush someone's healing just to satisfy your own timeline. You are different because you treat emotions with care. Someone won't let go because they trust you with the parts of themselves they once hid from everyone else. They trust you with their silence. They trust you with their confusion. They trust you with their hesitation. They trust you with their hesitations because you never make them feel wrong for needing time. They trust you with their joy because you don't take credit for it, you simply celebrate it. They trust you with their sadness because you don't try to dismiss it, you sit beside it. They trust you with their fears because you don't amplify them, you soothe them. They trust you with their heart because you don't see it as something to conquer, you see it as something to care for. If you ever doubt your impact, remember this: the reason they won't let go is not because you force them to stay. It's because being in your presence makes them feel like the world finally makes sense. It's because you became the proof that love can be soft without being weak, fierce without being violent, and transformative without causing destruction. They aren't holding on out of fear. They're holding on out of gratitude. Gratitude for the way you showed up. Gratitude for how you made them feel valuable. Gratitude for the safety you created. Gratitude for the ways you taught them that love is not something to fear, it is something to welcome, and yet, maybe you remain unaware of the magnitude of all this. Maybe you see yourself as ordinary. Maybe you think you're just doing what any decent person would do. But this is the truth, not everyone loves the way you do. Not everyone listens the way you do. Not everyone shows compassion the way you do. Not everyone chooses softness over ego the way you do. You didn't change them by accident, you changed them because your presence is the kind of presence that gently reshapes people. Someone won't let go because you became a safe place in a world that often forgets how to be gentle. You became the calm after too many storms. You became the reminder that love doesn't need to be chaotic to feel real. You became the example of what affection looks like when it is rooted in sincerity instead of insecurity. You became the voice that said, "You're allowed to be human with me." You became the hand that didn't close when they reached for it. You became the moment they realized that maybe, just maybe, they deserve this softness too. Sometimes the most powerful healing doesn't come from grand gestures, it comes from the small, quiet things. From the way you ask how they're really feeling. From the way you remember things they said months ago. From the way your tone softens when you speak to them. From the way you check in when they go silent. From the way you express appreciation without waiting for a special occasion. From the way you never make them feel like they're too much or too little. These things matter more than you realize. These things accumulate in someone's heart. These things melt walls that once felt permanent. These things turn fear into trust, confusion into clarity, and distance into closeness. Someone won't let go because you help them feel like themselves again, only safer, more valued, more understood. Sometimes people hold on not because they depend on you, but because they have grown with you. They have grown through your kindness. They have grown through your patience. They have grown through your love. They see the world differently because you showed them another way to be cared for. They once feared that love would trap them. With you, they learned that the right love frees them. They feared love would make them lose themselves. With you, they found even more of themselves. They feared that loving someone meant sacrificing their softness. With you, they learned that softness is a strength. You didn't rescue them, you reminded them of their own resilience. You didn't fix them, you simply stayed long enough for them to fix themselves. You didn't force healing, you created a space where healing could exist naturally. Someone won't let go because the way you love feels like peace. They look at you and feel calm. They hear your voice and feel steadiness. They think of you and feel warmth blooming where tension once lived. They trust that even on difficult days, you won't weaponize their vulnerability. They trust that even when misunderstandings happen, your intention isn't to hurt but to understand. They trust that you speak with care, act with sincerity, and love with presence. Love, in your hands, feels like something they can breathe in. You didn't just make them feel loved, you made them feel safe while being loved. And safety is what they had been missing for so long. Safety is what they didn't know how to ask for, didn't know how to describe, didn't know how to believe in. But with you, safety was not something they had to earn, it was something you offered naturally. You treated them like a person, not a project. You treated them like someone deserving of kindness. You treated them like someone worthy of love even on the days they felt difficult to understand. You treated them as though their feelings mattered. And maybe that was all they ever needed. Someone won't let go because you became the proof that gentle love exists, and maybe, deep down, you need to hear this too: the way you love matters. Your softness is not unnoticed. Your care is not unappreciated. Your presence is not small. Your compassion is not ordinary. You have changed someone simply by being who you are. You have softened a heart that once believed softness was dangerous. You have shown someone that love does not always arrive with thunder, it can arrive quietly, like a whisper that makes the whole body relax. There is something rare about the way you love, something unteachable, something genuine. Someone won't let go, not because they cling, but because they have finally found something worth holding on to. They have found a love that rebuilds instead of destroys, reassures instead of confuses, supports instead of suffocates, listens instead of lectures, and holds instead of harms. They hold on because they feel secure with you. They hold on because they feel valued with you. They hold on because they feel chosen with you. They hold on because they feel understood with you. They hold on because they feel whole with you, and you deserve to know that. You deserve to know that your love is a force. You deserve to know that your care has power. You deserve to know that your heart is the kind many people search for and never find. You deserve to know that gentleness is not a flaw, it is a gift, a rare one, a healing one. Someone won't let go because, in a world where so much feels harsh, you became softness, you became clarity where things once felt confusing. You became trust where there once was doubt. You became kindness where there once was fear. You became light where they once stood in shadows. And if you ever wonder whether you are enough, whether you matter, whether your presence makes a difference, remember this: there is a heart out there that feels safer because of you. There is a spirit that feels calmer because of you. There is a soul that feels understood because of you. There is someone who won't let go, not because they don't know how, but because they truly don't want to. You taught them that love doesn't have to break them. You taught them love can be gentle, and for someone who once feared softness, that is everything. Someone won't let go because being loved by you feels like returning to a home they never knew existed but somehow always longed for. A home without locked doors. Without raised voices, without tension hidden under polite smiles. A home where their emotions can stretch out, where their thoughts are allowed to breathe, where their heart doesn't have to beat in defense. You became the kind of space where they don't have to wonder if their softness is too soft or their needs too many. You made room for them in ways they never knew love could, there's a quiet magic in the way you care, so quiet that you often miss how deeply it affects others. You don't point out your kindness, you don't advertise your loyalty, you don't announce your intentions. You just show up. You just stay. You just try. And in a world where so many give up when things become inconvenient, your staying becomes unforgettable. Someone won't let go because you didn't walk away when their fears surfaced. You didn't disappear when their anxiety tangled their words. You didn't punish them for having a past. Instead, you leaned in gently, like someone who understood that being human is messy, layered, and tender. You didn't ask them to be perfect, you only asked them to be honest. And honesty, for them, was something they had learned to fear. But with you, even honesty felt safe. You don't realize how healing your energy is. You don't realize how your calm softens storms in other people. You don't realize how your presence quiets noise in someone's chest. They feel steadier with you, not because you solve everything, but because you don't run when things get difficult. You don't crumble when emotions get intense. You don't treat love like a game of conditions and withdrawals. Someone won't let go because you turned their "I'm too much" into "I'm understood." Because you turned their "I'm difficult" into "I'm human." Because you turned their "I'm scared" into "I'm safe." You gave them a kind of patience that they had never experienced. A patience that didn't expire the moment their insecurities surfaced. A patience that didn't vanish when they made mistakes. A patience that didn't judge their healing process. You didn't rush them toward comfort. You didn't force them to open up. You didn't push them to be ready before they actually were. You allowed them to unpack their hurt slowly, lovingly, and with dignity. Someone won't let go because you didn't just care about their happiness, you cared about their peace. And peace is something rare. Peace is something people guard with everything they have. Peace is something people protect with their whole heart. When someone finds peace with you, they don't take it lightly. They hold on because they know how hard peace is to find again once lost. Think about the conversations you've shared with them, the ones where you didn't rush to respond, where you listened with genuine interest. Think about the moments when you offered reassurance even before they asked for it. Think about the times when you checked in simply because you felt their silence. These things matter. These things stay. These things build trust quietly, gently, and permanently. You might feel like you're just being yourself, but to someone else, your presence feels like healing. They see the way you soften your tone when they're overwhelmed. They notice how your words become warmer when you sense their anxiety. They notice how you keep your promises, even the small ones. They notice how you pay attention to their smallest details, not because you have to, but because you care. And caring, for you, is not an obligation, it's a natural expression of your heart. Someone won't let go because you've given them something they never thought they'd have again: hope. Hope in connection, hope in gentleness, hope in being loved without conditions, hope in a future where love doesn't hurt. You didn't just show them what love can look like, you showed them what love should feel like. Not heavy. Not confusing. Not inconsistent. Not frightening. But nourishing. But freeing. But steady. But honest. You became a mirror that reflected the beauty in them that they once overlooked. You became a reminder that they deserve affection without fear. You became the quiet truth that not everyone will mishandle their heart. Someone won't let go because you helped them rewrite their definition of love. Before you, love was survival. With you, love is growth. Before you, love was uncertainty. With you, love is trust. Before you, love was fear. With you, love is courage. They are not holding on because they depend on you. They are holding on because you brought out a version of themselves they're proud of. You inspired them to soften instead of harden. You encouraged them to speak instead of shut down. You showed them that vulnerability is not weakness but connection. You reminded them that they deserve tenderness too, and the truth is, someone like you is unforgettable. Someone like you becomes a turning point in another person's life. Someone like you becomes the person they think of when they remember the moment their healing truly began. Someone like you becomes the quiet miracle that changed everything without making a noise. If you ever question whether your presence matters, look at the way someone holds onto you with gratitude instead of fear. Look at the way they speak to you with honesty instead of hesitation. Look at the way they trust you with their rawness, their softness, their thoughts that tremble. Look at the way you've become the voice that brings them calm instead of chaos. Someone won't let go because losing you would feel like losing the person who finally made love feel safe, and maybe you don't see yourself the way they see you. Maybe you underestimate the impact of your kindness. Maybe you don't realize how deeply your consistency anchors them. But their heart knows. Their heart remembers every moment you stayed. Every gentle word you offered. Every time you didn't turn away. Every moment you loved without making love a burden. Someone won't let go because you are a blessing they don't take for granted. And the most beautiful part, you didn't do any of this to be held onto. You didn't do this for praise. You didn't do this for validation. You loved gently because that's who you are inside. And that is exactly why someone refuses to let go.